Now, if you have any interest in pirate radio, or you remember listening to the Pirates back in the day, you'll want to know about an event that's happening next Saturday. It's taking place in the Ballsbridge Hotel in Dublin. That's Saturday, October 20th, in other words. And Brian Greene is the organiser. Brian Greene, organiser person, welcome to the programme. What is this all about, Brian?
It's all about pirate radio. So if you remember pirate radio, if you're involved in pirate radio, this might be an event for you. It's free in, and it's from 2 to 5 on Saturday the 20th in the Ballsbridge Hotel, as you just told everybody. And if you want to tell your pirate radio story, we want to get it down on tape for all of history.
Well, hold on a second now. Like, in other words, I come in, or somebody comes in and sits down, hi, my name is Dave, and I was the pirate, and you kind of give your stories up like as though you're, pretending or remembering a time when you were breaking the laws, that is?
Absolutely. It's like an inquisition. Right. They are interviews. And we go through a set of questions like what were you involved in, who did you know, what station was it called, did it change?
And why are you doing this?
For the purposes of gathering history. I was at a summer school of radio history in Luxembourg this summer, and I noticed and realised that there is a complete lack of Irish radio history and pirate history in particular, because of its unofficial nature, that it hasn't been documented extremely well.
Okay, so it's not just broadcasters and people who were involved in radio. You want, like, people who listened. I mean, I remember one station, I can't remember what it was closing down, and about 25,000 people protested on the streets of O'Connell Street. So you want those kind of people as well, yeah?
Yeah, if you feel, strongly enough about it 30, 40 years later after pirate radio, those kind of listeners we want to, engaged listeners, but also the people who are involved in the stations, the background people. Even if you were on a raiding party to shut down a station from the Post and Telegraphs, we'd love to talk to you.
Ah, the P&T people with their big iron doors. I remember that all right. Yeah. So then, basically, will there be student journalist types taking notes? Is that it?
That's it. So we'll have a couple of kind of makeshift studios set up in the hotel, roundtable interviews for particulars. So let's say there's 5 people from Big D Radio or 3 people from Sunshine Radio, get them around a table. But individuals, we do one-to-one interviews with journalists, student journalists from some of the colleges in Dublin, and we do just stand-up interviews, like 10, 15 minutes, should have your story down.
And is this like some kind of a third-level project thing, or is this eventually a book, or is this eventually like a documentary or something?
Well, it is more academia. So I've just finished a Master's in Social Media Communications with a huge interest in podcasting and radio. But I'm seeing that this stuff needs to be preserved. So all this content will be headed to DCU Library, who have just taken on board a huge pirate radio collection of memorabilia from an historian, Eddie Bowen. And Eddie has collected this over decades, and he's, like last week, given it over to DCU. So that's on now in the O'Reilly Library in DCU Glasnevin. You can go up and visit an exhibition of what's been handed over, just a small selection of some of the artefacts that have gone into the library. But the audio stories will go in, and students of the future can then research and investigate what was going on in the pirate radio years.
And besides your third level interest, what other pirate station-y kind of interest do you have, Brian?
Well, I loved them as a kid. From the age of about 8 or 9, I was listening to the Pirates, and at the age of 14, I started hassling local station to let me on. They wouldn't let me on because I was too young, and 6 months later, after a lot of hassling, they let me onto the air up in Coolock, North Dublin Community Radio, and I was involved in radio stations across the north side for the next 15 years, and then I went legal.
Then you went legal. Okay, I'm going to give you a blast of something here then, just to bring you back in terms of... Here's Boyneside Radio. Are you ready for this?
Go for it.
Okay, here goes.
We got it, the great sound of the day. Bubbling Boyneside Radio, in touch with you.
Oh, yeah, right. I mean, like, that goes back to... if you say you were doing something in Luxembourg, that goes back to Radio Caroline as well from the mid-60s. That kind of a jingle of, hey, we're all clappy happy and it's all the same kind of words. Do you have any specific kind of, ties to Boyneside, or do you remember that?
Oh no, I remember it well because it was on medium wave. It would have been up in County Louth, and we have heard it strong here in North County Dublin. But yeah, pirates used to pirate each other's newscasts as well. So we would pirate the Boyneside news, and they were really good at covering things that were happening up across the border in the Troubles. So it was a good independent local radio news service that we were getting from Boyneside, and it was an alternative to yourselves in RTE.
Right, indeed. Here's one which a station still going very strong. This is Nova.
Radio Nova, 88 FM.
Well, I presume is that a jingle from some time back as opposed to any time now? Because I think they should re-release redo all those things. They're good.
Yeah, no, they're the old jingles from the old Nova. The new Nova has got the same name, but it's a different management and a different structure and a different legal entity. So, yeah, no, that's the old Nova that Chris Carey brought over to Dublin in 1980, 1981, and, caused havoc on the radio airwaves and professionalised the broadcasting and brought us to FM stereo and high quality and no distortion, and really brought radio forward in those kind of mid-80s.
Brian, sounds like you know what you're talking about, historically speaking. All right, here, let's prove it. Sunshine 106.8.
Sunshine Radio.
Oh, no, that's Sunshine 101.
I know, that's the point I'm making. So again, that's a different one from the past in terms of a whole new structure set up now with just the same name.
Absolutely. We have got a Q102, a Sunshine and a Nova in Dublin, but they're nothing to do with the original stations that were really, really big in this city, in Dublin, in the 1980s.
And the ones I've just played there, regardless of Boyneside, giving you some good news about north of the border in particular, I suppose, Boyneside, Nova, Sunshine, it was just playing the pop hits of the day, yeah?
Playing the pop hits of the day, but then again, you were getting stations like Treble Tior playing the country music, and Radio Leinster that were putting on a really good kind of middle of the road and current affairs alternatives as well. So community radio was all over the country, and if there are people around the country who can't get up to Dublin on the 20th, we want you to pirate what we're doing, copy us, and on the 20th or very near to it, interview local people who were involved in pirate radio, send us the tapes.
Okay, so what's going to happen then finally to the audio? I mean, if, for instance, it's not specifically one-on-one and properly recorded with one person talking to another person to make it into a 24-hour kind of documentary or something, the point is that, the audio goes somewhere, regardless of how many people might be talking at once. Where does it go and what happens to it?
Yeah, so December 2018 is the 30th anniversary of shutting down all the pirates in 1988. So we want to put on a tribute station at the end of December with some of this audio and some of the sounds of pirate radio to kind of let people know what it was like 30 years ago. We're going to put that on Pirate.ie as a radio station.
Ah, right, I see. Okay, fair enough. So it's all coming to good use in some way towards the end of it. Okay, so what do you listen to these days, Brian? I mean, just whatever.
I listen to you.
Oh, jeepers. That's pathetic. All right, tenner in the post. Sorry, I better get your address, Brian Greene. Brian, listen, thank you very much indeed for talking to us, and good luck with it next weekend. It is Ballsbridge Hotel in Dublin, Saturday, that is, the 20th, and Brian Greene is the organiser. And is there a website people can look at or get in touch with her?
Yeah, it's simple. It's Pirate.ie.
All right, Pirate.ie. Can't go wrong there. All right, good man, Brian. Good luck with it. Thanks a million for talking to us. Take it easy.
Thank you.